gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video. All right, guys. So I wanted to show you this story because this is an example of New York, their bail system, and why all these criminals are going to continue, violent criminals, I should say, are going to continue to do what they do in New York and not feel any type of remorse or any feeling of anxiety that the law is gonna come down on them hard. Okay, so we got this rapper, C Blue, apparently, and he is walking free on bond for shooting a police officer. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. How is this possible? Well, he shot him on accident, okay? And in the event of shooting the police officer, he also shot himself. So this just goes to show the lack of discipline that these young super gremlins have, okay? The fact that you don't have the discipline to learn how to use the firearm is evident that you should not have one in your possession. Not to mention that it is illegal to have firearms in New York City, and he's a minor. So, but I'm sure he's got ops and he's created beefs for himself. See, when these guys talk about, I got ops, they created those beefs for themselves. Okay? This is the reality, right? A lot of these guys are looking for a new super gremlin to beef with. Okay? So, let's get into the article. This is from the New York Post. A 16-year-old up-and-coming rapper charged with shooting an NYPD cop in the Bronx walked free on bond Thursday, and cops are fuming over it. Cameron Williams, who is also known by the rap name C Blue, posted his $250,000 bond after being locked up at Brooklyn Juvenile Facility on gun and assault charges in the shooting of a 27-year-old cop in Belmont. If anybody wants to know why we have a crisis of violence in this city, or why we're about to bury two hero police officers, look no further than the disgraceful bail release NYPD Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Lynch said in a statement. And he's absolutely right, okay? This is ridiculous. This guy shouldn't be out on bail. He had an illegal firearm. He discharged the weapon, put himself and the officer and everybody else in the vicinity at risk, and he's getting out on bond. But this just goes to show how fair to the super gremlin, how laissez-faire, I should say, the criminal justice system is. There is virtually no racism in the criminal justice system. From what I've seen in the past 5 years, not even the last 5, just say the past 2 or 3 years, these super gremlins are getting bonds, they're getting let out, they're getting pushed back court dates. Obviously, he had bread, okay? And he's at the crib while this officer is shot in a wheelchair. It's tough out here. And I'm not saying he's the worst of the bunch when it comes to super gremlins. Okay, because I don't think he should be out on bail, but I also do believe that it was an accident. Okay, especially if he shot himself. Now, he may have tried to just shoot the officer and accidentally shot himself as well. That could be an incident too. You never know the mindset of a super gremlin, but I'm gonna guess if he discharged the weapon, he probably tried to shoot the officer through his pants without pulling his hands out of his pants. You know what I'm saying? Because he was caught red-handed. Shame on Judge Dennis Boyle for allowing this to happen, he said. The people of the Bronx won't be safe as long as he's on the bench. Boyle, a Bronx Supreme Court justice, has come under fire in the past amid claims that he's overly lenient, particularly with young defendants. In a statement Thursday, state court officials said that anger is misdirected. The ire that the PBA president is projecting on the judge, who is following the law, should be directed at the individuals who promulgate those laws. Lucian Shelfin, spokesman for the State Office of Court Administration, said in an email. So they're blaming the lawmakers instead of the judge. State lawmakers have also come under fire after passing bail reform measures that bar judges from setting bail on misdemeanors and non-violent felonies. Okay? So you can't even set a bail on misdemeanors and non-violent felonies. That's crazy. This is the Bronx, y'all. This is a systemic issue. This is a systemic issue, okay? Williams was eligible for bail in his case. We walked out of the Crossroads Juvenile Center in Brooklyn shortly before 7 p.m., but declined to comment to a reporter from the Post. But in a statement, his attorney, Dawn Florio, said her client will focus on his music. Cameron has been released and will be back to his regular productive life of focusing on schoolwork and his music career. Wow. Police said Williams was arrested after cops from the 48th precinct responded to reports of an unruly crowd at Lorillard Place near East 187th Street on January 18. Williams refused to take his hands out of his pockets and got into a scuffle with cops. Oh, okay. So he got the fighting with the cops. Yeah. Bruh, he need to be locked up. During the struggle, a gun he was holding went off. He shot the gun. With a single bullet striking and wounding NYPD officer Kasim Pennant, a black officer, by the way, and hitting the teenager in the groin. Williams already had a 2020 gun possession arrest on his record and was placed on probation as a juvenile in the case just 1 month earlier. Bronx prosecutors asked that the teen be held without bail at his arraignment last week, but Boyle set bond at $250,000. Wow. This is shameful. Williams reportedly to use an advance on his contract with Interscope Records to post the $15,000. So he didn't even have to post 10%. He didn't even have to post 10%. He posts like 7.5% in case needed to secure the bond. So Interscope fronted him the money. Wow. This is deep. This is deep. And it all makes sense. I mean, I've known this before, but these record labels are funding the dysfunction in the community and using these rappers as a poster child for super gremlins to go wild, get out on bond, and release a track bragging about these crimes. You got an officer here, shot in a wheelchair, could have been paralyzed, could have been killed, could have never been able to walk again. Okay? And you got this super gremlin crying, oh, I've been shot. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes really show their true colors, man. They're really showing their true colors. And Interscope is happy to front the money to bail him out so he can continue his rap career. Man, this is a dirty game. This is a dirty game.
From the Midwest to the East Coast, is rap music on trial? Hip-hop artists are going to prison for major crimes, and prosecutors say the evidence is right there in their music. Mike Sachs reports on the lyrics and the law.
All right, so I want to stop her there because she's saying hip-hop artists are going to jail all across the state. Look, this is the reality. The Super Gremlin, black men, whatever you want to call it, everybody's a rapper. Hell, I'm a rapper. I got music out, right? So everybody is a rapper. All the Super Gremlins are rappers. So it's not that rappers all across the states are being arrested. No. And their lyrics used on trial. No. What's happening is these Super Gremlins who are out here just so happen to rap, okay? Everybody got bars. I don't know a black man who doesn't have bars, honestly, okay? And it's just something that you do. You grow up loving hip-hop music, you write music, and if you're talented enough, you start producing, and I mean, but now people aren't really talented. That's another story here and there. But anyways, that's the game. It's not that rappers are getting locked up. It's that the norm is continuing to happen. The community is in shambles. Black men are continuing to go to jail. And the only difference is they got a track out. Okay, so it's more of advancements in technology than all these rappers are getting locked up. There's a conspiracy against rappers. No, it's that technology got out to where every dude, every Super Gremlin and their mama can put out a track and it go viral or whatever. So that's what's happening. It's not that all these rappers are getting locked up. It's that every black man is a rapper, damn near. I mean, that's the reality. And I'm not hating on rappers. I love hip hop music and all that kind of stuff, but also we see the flaws in it, and we see how it's translating in the community. And that's a discussion that we don't want to have.
Two shots to the body, 2 shots to the dome.
It's a vivid description of a crime committed. 2 shots to the body, 2 shots to the dome. And it helped land the rapper Troy Ward in prison for a double homicide.
The lyrics in the song very much reflected what took place in the crime.
Marion County, Indiana prosecutor Ryan Mears said it was a slam dunk.
And these are, you don't even have to be an intelligent prosecutor. You don't even have to be an intelligent prosecutor to get this slam dunk case. Okay? You don't. All you got to do is have one ear to the streets and one ear to the courtrooms, and you're good. See, I have no problem with guys making music. 2 shots to the body, 2 shots to the dome. It is what it is. But once you start enacting those crimes, that is where the issue is. But let's keep it a buck. When it comes to hip hop music, you're not... I'll put it like this. The listeners want to see the Super Gremlins that they listen to live up to their raps. So there is a pressure and even an incentive to act out what you're rapping on the track, because, you know, if you do something, you'll blow up. Okay? Like Tay-K. The only thing is, he didn't beat the case. Like YNW Melly. The only thing is, he's not going to beat the case. Like Casanova 2 times. The only thing is, he's not going to beat the case. But there are plenty of examples of guys who end up beating the case. And C Blue might be a guy who beats the case. I mean, he already got bond. He's got Interscope backing him. They got lawyers. He might get probation because they'll say it was an accident. But he's resisting arrest. He has an illegal weapon. He's a minor. Multiple charges. Multiple offenses. But he might beat the case. And if he beats this case, he'll go from having 61,000 followers on Instagram to probably 1 million.
in terms of what people knew about what took place inside that apartment, this was not widely distributed information that you could easily know unless you were there.
But the use of rap lyrics as evidence in criminal trials is highly controversial, with commentators over the years taking to magazines and law review articles condemning the practice as poisonous to juries.
Okay, so all of these publishers are like hip hop blogs. These are not like super reputable websites. These are hip hop blogs. They report gossip. So to use these as references, it's like, why are we even taking these people seriously?
Asking why rock and country lyrics don't face similar scrutiny as
because rock and country music artists don't do the crimes. They'll talk about it, but they don't do the crimes. Okay? They don't do the crimes. I don't understand why you guys don't get it. If there's evidence that these guys committed the crime, so many examples of these guys committing the crime, and then they're rapping about it. It's like, come on, bruh.
Black and brown amateur rappers and rising stars suspected of crimes see their artwork used against them at trial.
It allows the government to rely on racist and race-based stereotypes and narratives with respect to the defendants who are usually targeted in these cases.
And this is so crazy how this sister is racist and race-based. It's not racist and race-based if a guy makes a confession about a crime that he did commit on a track. Okay, imagine if it was a little white boy, right? Imagine if it was a little white boy and he killed his whole family, his mom and his dad, in the crib. All right? He just stabbed them to death while they were asleep. And then he drew a picture of it. We would say, oh, that white boy crazy, bro. He did that, bro. He done drew a picture of it, bro. And bro, he basically made a confession. Isn't that artwork? So now these guys, these rappers, they're doing the crime and then making an audible confession on the track. So you can't blame the prosecutors for using this evidence, okay? Because the name of the game is you're in the streets, right? You're in the street life. You know you're in the street life. You want to get out of the street life, so you rap music about the street life because you know that street life is the most profitable rap music. Now, there is usually an overlap with a lot of these rappers, okay? Sometimes they're in the streets longer and it takes longer to kick off the rap career, and sometimes they're not even in the streets. Nowadays, they may not have stepped foot off the porch, okay? And they get a hit record that's like something goofy like Lil Nas X, and now boom, right? So there's a dance, but the most authentic are like the street rappers who come from the street and whatnot. And this is what people enjoy the most in the hip hop community. All right. So when you have these guys and they're in the streets and they're trying to get out of the streets with their music, they're blending what they're doing in the streets because they know that, hey, man, I just did this. I just did that. I shot this dude. I shot that dude. I got beef with this dude. It's profitable for me to talk about it on the track. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with black and brown. The only thing that has to do with black and brown is that Super Gremlins and Burrito Gremlins are committing most of the crimes, right? So if they are committing the crimes and then they're admitting to the crimes on the track, you cannot blame the prosecutors for using this evidence. It's like it's better than a wiretap. So are wiretaps racist because you're listening to a guy's conversation? If this guy has intimate details to how a murder went down and he's singing about it and glorifying it, then what do you expect the prosecutors to do? Hey, you know, I heard this song, it's blowing up on the radio, but it's nothing. It means nothing. And what this sister doesn't understand is that any of these super gremlins, if you said something crazy to them, they'll shoot you in the face and not think twice. Oh, y'all didn't know it was open season on Sisters? Go watch my videos.
University of Georgia law professor Andrea Dennis co-authored the book Rap on Trial.
Quite honestly, that when the lyrics are admitted, they are toxic, they infect the case, and they essentially almost ensure that the government is going to obtain a
as they should.
Conviction.
Not always, though. In 2014, New Jersey's Supreme Court ordered a new trial for Vontae Skinner after prosecutors secured a homicide conviction using his lyrics. The court wrote, quote, "Rap lyrics may not be used as evidence of motive and intent, except when such material has a direct connection to the specifics of the offense for which it is offered in evidence and the evidence's probative value is not outweighed by its apparent prejudice."
And I have no problem with that. He got his case thrown out. If it wasn't relevant to the case, then it's a mistrial. Now, the fact that he probably did do it is troubling. And think about the family that he took away. The person's family that he took away. They can never get that loved one back. But because his rap lyrics were not a direct link to the case, then it got thrown out. So maybe he got a mistrial, maybe he got exonerated, who knows? But this is what's happening. This is the game now. I mean, it ain't like these dudes ain't getting a bond and beating these cases anyway. A lot of these guys are beating these cases.
That was a bit of an exceptional case because it was 13 pages of lyrics in what was otherwise a weak case.
More often, Dennis says, defense witnesses are necessary to educate judges and juries on the creation and history of rap lyrics. And in late 2020, Maryland's High Court celebrated hip-hop's rise from a Bronx community center to global dominance.
Guys, think about that. Think about that. There are so many super gremlins and burrito gremlins committing crimes based off of, I'm not saying they're doing it because of hip hop music, but it helps to get in the mood when you're listening to hip hop music, right? They are committing crimes and hip hop is so involved in the crimes that they commit that these prosecutors and these people with law degrees have to get educated on the community culture in order to fairly and justly prosecute these violent offenders. It's wild.
And name-checked Run DMC, Tupac, and Drake before upholding a murder suspect's rap lyrics as evidence over one judge's dissent. And Mears, the Indiana prosecutor, says he took care in Troy Ward's trial not to trigger his jury's potential racial prejudices.
The genre and the music's not on trial. It's the lyrics as they relate to this specific factual scenario.
But Professor Dennis, who's analyzed thousands of cases, says only a total ban can realistically combat the racist potential of using black and brown defendants' lyrics against them.
In my research over more than a decade, I haven't come across a case in which I'm firmly convinced that the court has made an appropriate decision to admit lyrics as criminal evidence.
And in some cases, the lyrics themselves are the
What? What did this sister just say?
crime. In 2018,
Which I'm
racist potential of using black and brown defendants' lyrics against them.
In my research over more than a decade, I haven't come across a case in which I'm firmly convinced that the court has made an appropriate decision to admit lyrics.
Hold on. What about Take K, the race? What about Take K? All right. What about YNW Melly? Murder on my mind. Are you serious? I mean, the cognitive dissonance on these sisters is so crazy because these guys will not hesitate to kill you. Pregnant. With your kids. With your baby daddy. These super gremlins will kill you and not, they'll kill you, pull up to the convenience store, grab a Black and Mild, freak that Black and Mild, and dedicate that Black and Mild to your death. They'll be smoking on an Andrea pack.
As criminal evidence.
And in some cases, the lyrics themselves are the crime. In 2018, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court held that a teenager's rap lyrics were terroristic threats against police officers who had once arrested him. Rappers Killer Mike, Chance the Rapper, and Meek Mill asked the U.S. Supreme Court to step in.
Killer Mike, Chance the Rapper, and Meek Mill. And I think Jay-Z has jumped into the pot as well. These guys are more of a detriment to the community than anything. They are the spearheads. They want the violence, the murder, the kick doors, the robberies to continue. That's what they want. They want to incentivize these guys to make hip hop music, commit these crimes, rap about them, get a record deal, and fund your legal case through the record label. It's profitable. Because what's happened is these guys are signing artists and they're getting into a lot of legal troubles. I mean, look at Meek Mill. He was just in legal trouble. He spent, a couple years in jail. Maybe 12, 15 months in jail, and now he crying, they unjustly, they unjustly did this, they arrested me. Bruh, you violated your probation multiple times. Take the L. Sit down, do the time. You've been on probation for 15 years, bruh. Like, I don't get it.
Citing the First Amendment, but the justices declined, letting the conviction stand. Mike Sachs, Fox 5 News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.